Hello everyone and welcome to the next edition of the Chartered Career Chat series. I am delighted today that Sinead Donovan of Grant Thornton Ireland is joining us. Sinead, welcome. Thank you so much for coming along and speaking with us. How are you?
I'm good, Sinead. Thanks a million for asking me to chat. I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, I know a bit about your chartered journey, but for the benefit of anybody tuning in, what about we start at the very start? So rewind all those years and think back. How did you get into chartered accountancy as a profession, Sinead?
So yeah, rewind back to, what is it, 30 years at this stage. So I was one of these very strange people who knew from day one that they wanted to be an accountant. So in school, I knew I wanted to be an accountant. Now that probably comes from, or definitely comes from, my father. My father was a chartered accountant, was past president of the institute, was kind of my hero growing up, along with my mum, obviously. So wanted to be an accountant. So I actually did chartered accountancy straight from school. So at that stage, there was what was called the commencement course, where you were able to do it straight from school. So being the precocious 17-year-old that I was, I didn't feel I needed to go to university and have people changing my mind about my career choice. So I did 2 years, at that time, it was 2 years full-time education in the National College of Industrial Relations in Ranelagh. And then went into a small practice, Ormsby and Rhodes. It was a four partner practice, and I have to say the small firm training I got was amazing. Everything from the shoebox set of accounts to we did at the time the audit of one of the largest department stores, so we were very, very lucky to get a full breadth of experience. So I was done, dusted, and qualified by the age of 22. Which was pretty special. And then I went off and I actually joined Arthur Andersen for a couple of years. So that was amazing to get into one of the big six, as it was at that stage. And then from there, it opened a huge amount of doors, a huge amount of travel, and I'm sure we'll touch on all that. But yeah, really, really exciting start, and was great to be qualified by the age of 22. Super.
Absolutely amazing. Such a young age. It's fantastic to have that opportunity. And I know you're passionate about accessibility to the profession. And sometimes there is a misconception that you need to have an accounting degree to come in to become a chartered accountant, when in fact you can come from any background. And indeed, you don't need to be a degree holder, which maybe tees in nicely to maybe a bit of conversation around Accounting Technicians Ireland. I know you've come out of a presidential role there, and having no degree is not a barrier to entry to chartered accountancy. You can in fact study with Accounting Technicians Ireland and come into us. So how was your role with ATI?
Oh, it was brilliant. ATI is a superb body, institute. Again, there is a linkage to my dad. So my dad would have been one of the co-founders of Accounting Technicians Ireland with the then Director of Education of Chartered Accountancy, Ben Lynch. And one of the prime reasons that it was Accounting Technicians Ireland was set up was to exactly what you've just said, to enable anyone access the profession, because it was traditionally the university grads, the kind of white collar, route. And Dad and Ben were very passionate that diversity, was going to be good for everybody. So the Accounting Technicians has grown. And yeah, last year I was lucky enough and honoured enough to be president. An amazing body, very forward looking, very nimble, very flexible. We here in Grant Thornton would take on a number of apprentices every year, and the apprenticeship route is great because they work for 4 days a week in the office. They then have 1 day a week full-time study, and they get paid as they learn. So earn as you learn, and they can go on to, once you get your ATI qualification, you can go on and do chartered, and you get good exemptions to charters from that. So what I see is the diversity coming into the profession is amazing. I mean, one of our grads last year was he did hairdressing for about 15 years. And he just suddenly decided he wanted to change. And what they can bring to the team, the insights that they can bring, the conversations they can bring to clients, is brilliant. So I'm all for all the flexible entry routes there are.
Amazing, fantastic. It's great. Some of the stories I come across, the different backgrounds of folk, even the last chap that I had on the session came from a music background, and it's great to see all the varied skill sets. We're a creative bunch, Sinead, despite the popular
We
myth.
are. We are. This stereotype of chartered accountants is no longer. I mean, look at me with my, which is now blue hair, but there's a story to that. It is meant to be purple, but it reacted. So yeah, so I think we're smashing the conceptions of accountancy. However, always with the underpin of the ethics, of the professionalism, of the responsibility that we have to our stakeholders and to our profession. But you can still be somewhat different.
Absolutely. You can still have a personality and have that element of fun, but as you rightly say, it's the professionalism, the ethics that always has to underpin it all. Actually, maybe touching on that human side, we're sort of segued into it a little bit. It's great that, we have so many varied personality types and people with other interests. We aren't just all calculator warriors. You've got varied interests. I know you're a keen sportswoman, a regular participant in the Ironman. So maybe tell me a bit about your interests outside of the workplace.
Yeah, I mean, I've got thankfully I'm very lucky. I've got a very busy life. I have two girls. I have a 10-year-old and a 12-year-old, so they keep me incredibly grounded. I love the balance of being mum and being an accountant. Sport is a passion. I mean, sport for me, I've always loved sport, but probably about 12 years ago, from a mental health perspective, I was advised to take up some sort of personal exercise, because I was pretty much just doing work, and then the odd time seeing my kids, but then it was all work and it was getting very stressful. So I took up running, and really it just went from there. I do, as you say, I've done a number of Ironman events. I running, cycling, swimming has just become part of my day. It's great that it's passed on to the kids, so they see the need for it from a physical, but also more importantly to me, for a mental health perspective. I firmly believe that physical fitness leads to mental health, but there's other ways you need to look after your mental health too. So yeah, no, I love it.
That well-being strand actually maybe tees nicely into another conversation with your role and CA support, and just the fact, I suppose, that our institute is really invested in the wider well-being piece of our student and members.
Yeah, CA support was something that was introduced to me very, very early on in my career. So it was then known as the Benevolent Association, and really probably because of Dad, but also because of some of the senior partners in the firm that I trained in, I was made aware of the Benevolent Association, which was at that stage really a financial fund to help members that got into difficulty. So I've been a supporter of that for years. I was asked to go on the board a number of years ago. And really, I suppose over the last few years, myself and a couple of the board members realized that, look, times, I suppose, have changed. Members need an awful lot more support than just financial. We still are there as the last resort for financial, but we wanted to forearm members to address some of the stresses, concerns, just the pressures that come with professional life, whatever that might be. So I am thrilled with the journey that CA Support has gone on. I mean, we've an amazing administrator in D France. We've Francesca. We've a team of about five people now, I want to say. We're rolling out courses on well-being. We are there to listen to people. We are there when people say they're not okay. We say it's okay to not be okay, and we can hear them. And most importantly, we want to try and just break down sometimes the stigma that still is there about mental health in the profession. And we've all gone, but not all, most of us has gone through it at some stage, or we've been touched by it at some stage. So it's good to help the family of accountants.
Absolutely. And I know that's something you're passionate about, the fact that it is a chartered community and a family. And maybe fast forward to present day, our current vice president of Chartered Accountants Ireland, along with the day job partner in Grant Thornton. Tell me how you balance it all. What's busy life like in Sinead's world?
I know it was a bit of a pinch me moment when I got the honor of getting vice president and hopefully going on to be president. It is busy, but I think when you're doing something that you ultimately love, and I know that sounds corny, but I do actually love the profession. You know, you find the time. Look, it's busy, and there's days where I'm coming out the door and me and the two kids are roaring at each other, and you know the dog's kind of falling out the door behind us. It's not pretty, but we get it done. And yeah, it is busy. The firm have been amazing. The firm, very much, I went to the firm and I said, you know, I'd be very keen to do this role, but I could only do it with their support. And the firm have been amazing, and I've said, yeah, they will support me in that, which I think is really important. But again, I want to try and demonstrate to the team here that, you know, you can't do it all, but you can do bits of it all. And I think that's where I maybe learned the hard way a few years ago. I was trying to do it all to 100%. I was trying to do home, I was trying to do work, I was trying to do everything. And you can't, but you can do things to a certain percentage, so long as you're okay leaving the little bits at the end.
And how has it been rising through the ranks? It's great to have you on, you know, representing our females within the profession at the top of the tree, if you like, you know, in partnership. How has that rise through the ranks been?
It's been really good, Sinead. I mean, I was the first female partner in Grant Thornton, and that's probably something that I am actually really, really proud of. I didn't encounter any barriers from a gender perspective early on in my career. I will be honest that recently, in the last maybe 10 to 15 years, I have seen evidence of where females do struggle. Not necessarily in this firm, but just as my network grows, I've seen evidence, or I've heard stories. I think, to me, I just would love to get to a situation where there's meritocracy. You know, whether you're male, you're female, that you get to where you get to on merit. However, I am very strong promoter of equality. So, you know, we do in the firm, for example, at promotions over a certain level, we will always have at least one female and one male candidate, and not necessarily all get through, but one candidate or two candidates, so as to try and strive for equality. And that's something that I do think we being both male and females in the profession, need to be mindful of and ensure there is equality.
It's great to see actually equilibrium coming in our own membership. You know, we're nearly at sort of balance both in the membership and the student base, which is great. Actually focusing maybe in, as we head into the closing tail of the session, Sinead, the profession and the qualification itself, we view it as a business leadership qualification. Would you agree with that?
Oh, definitely. I mean, so I ended up back in practice, but I mean, I took a circular route in my career. I was in industry. I was in Elan Pharmaceuticals, which was a fantastic company. I went down to Australia for 2 years, and I got fabulous work experience down there in Australia. It is definitely a qualification that lends itself to flexibility, to adaptability. You know, you get a really good grounding in your training of dealing with clients, of dealing with industry, of dealing with peers and mentors, and you can bring that the whole time through your career. And look, I'm, touch wood, only halfway through my career. There's still a number of journeys that I want to go on. There's still a number of ambitions I have, and it will all be made possible by the underlying qualification of Chartered Accountancy. I do really believe that. I am absolutely passionate about it. I love it, and I would endorse anyone to go down the route. It's a super qualification, and a great family and a great community.
I believe you, and I'm equally as keen an advocate for it. And the beauty is you can travel, as you rightly said there, and you can use it in any sector. You know, it is really a passport to a career of choice, I find. Is there any particular characteristics or traits you think that are important for folk maybe considering the profession? What sort of type of person do you need to be?
No, I don't think so. I mean, the diversity is what's brilliant about the one thing I would say, and I've mentioned it before, is ethics is our cornerstone. And you know, you do need to go into the profession with the understanding that we are guardians to stakeholders. And you know, you don't take that role lightly. So that would be the one thing I would say, that you go into this profession only if you want to do the right thing. I know that sounds a bit corny, but do the right thing and abide by certain guidelines, because they are there for a reason, and it's to ensure that we are guardians of the profession going forward.
That's it. I suppose chartered means vested in the public interest, and that's what we have to keep front of mind. Well, in summing up, Sinead, what would you say to somebody maybe considering this profession? Would you recommend it, or have you any tips for them?
Have I any tips for them? Would I recommend it? Absolutely. Sure. Look, if a blue-haired, shaved head, tattooed, pierced female can get to the to where I've got to, it can be for anyone. Tips, I would just say, look, the training is brilliant. Just enjoy the training, enjoy the diversity of the experience you get, and don't pigeonhole yourself too early, because the routes that the qualification can lead you to are immense. So don't pigeonhole yourself too early. Use the time post qualification to work out what you want, and then try and go down that route. That's the only thing I'd say. But yeah, I mean, come and join us, and we do have a lot of fun along the way.
We do. Come and join the family. What a note to end on. Sinead, thank you so much for that. Really appreciate your time. It's been fantastic hearing your story and all your great words of wisdom. So thank you again. Much appreciated. And
thanks, Sinead.
Tuning in. Until next time, folks. Thanks a million.
Cheers. Bye-bye.